What is up? It's Sunday, Sooner Nation. I'm laughing at you, Jay. Jay was just telling me he's got the port butt smoking on the smoker. Hey guys, what are we now about? I got a case of the giggles, guys. Hey, welcome to the Sooner Surge. Is Jay going to join us on here? I think Jay's a little embarrassed. Sorry. Bobby says, and listen, maybe Jay can attest to this. No word on if he turned in his chip or not. I'll be honest with you, Bobby. I can't really comment on that because I know nothing on that. Who was it that was telling Boston wasn't going to win the NBA Finals? Was it Mez? Well, I don't remember who it was. I do know Jay and Hunter and some others on here. I think a lot of people on were talking about they made the mistake of throwing this duo of Doncic and Kyrie Irving as the best duo in the history of NBA. Well, they were wrong. They're not. They're not the best offensive duo. They're going to be down 2-0, or they already are. They're not going to win a championship likely this year. Doncic played pretty well tonight, actually, guys. Kyrie Irving struggled a little. Maybe Tatum and Brown are better. I don't know. Maybe. Thanks, everyone, for being on here. Let's get started. Quite a bit to talk about with season coming around the corner. Obviously, the summer workouts are going to be picking up anytime soon. Damon asked a good question that's really been all over the Twitterverse and Facebook pages. Any word why Hodge was not at Love's Field last night? No, there's no word why. It could have been a family trip. I know Hunter earlier shared kind of Avery Hodges' tweet, Jay, and there's nothing that leads me to believe Avery Hodges is leaving Norman, guys.
All speculation.
It's all speculation if you think so.
And it's all rumor mill because somebody wasn't because she wasn't there. I mean, that's just I don't even want to bring it up because there's nothing to it. So the only way something's to that is if you see her name in the portal. Okay, that's it. Other than that, nothing. Not even talking about it.
And Quincy,
honestly, I think next year. I mean, what she did at the end of the year, she's looking to have a big time role next year. So
absolutely, maybe move up in the order. Obviously, play second or short. So yeah, I think until I see something from her, I don't have any inkling, not one iota, that she's leaving, guys.
Hey, one thing you ought to watch for, though, if you're OU, transfer portal-wise, is Texas Tech's coach moved on, and they may have quite a few into the portal. I mean, I think that's when you look at coaching changes, specifically a lot of sports, but even softball too. If the coach leaves, I mean, good chance you're going to have some players leave. That's just a fact. So I think if you're wondering right now as softball fans, who's going to be available in the portal? Well, just watch the coaching and the coaching changes, and you're going to probably be able to, at least some players from those teams will be in the portal, I would guess.
Yeah. Colin says talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence. Talent wins game, but teamwork and intelligence win games. It's a good one by the GOAT.
Hey, anybody know anything about Tulane? I do know they got Mario Williams, USC former OU player, wide receiver, and you know they've gone through some changes with coaches and different things.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they are this year. I don't know if any
Jay,
what's
the quarterback they had's not there anymore.
No.
And I agree. When I hear Mario Williams, it makes me laugh. Obviously, they're not going to be that great receiver if he's starting, and they're not going to scare me anyway.
How overhyped was he?
Tulane should be worse this year than they were last year. I think that would be, I think, a fair analysis. They shouldn't be as good as they were last year, and OU should be better than they were last year.
Should be. That's right.
Yeah. What was his name? I cannot think of his name, Jay.
Who, Pratt?
No, Tulane coach.
I thought you were talking about the quarterback was Pratt, I believe.
I cannot think of his. Oh,
Fritz.
Holy
Fritz.
Fritz.
Hey, you remember the last time OU played Tulane at home?
Last time we played Tulane, we struggled at home, Jay.
Yep, Lincoln Riley. That was a tough year. Tough game that year. Hey, I don't know if anybody, Colin says, just be patient. We're losing 10 seniors. We're going to rebuild this into something wonderful.
And it probably won't take 2 months.
I saw the quote. I don't like the term rebuild because it's not. It's reload. When you have 6 of the top 11 recruits, that's reload.
But you did lose 10 seniors, so there's a little bit of building. There's building that up, Jay.
Hey, I don't know if anybody watches Uncle Lou. I'm sure a lot of you do. I saw he put out today he went game by game Oklahoma projection. Had OU finishing at 7-5. Game by game. Yep, game by game. 5 losses were to. There was 1 surprise loss. I mean, let me do the 4 losses.
Uncle who?
Let me see.
Uncle who cares?
Uncle Lou. Oh, stop. Hey, here's the 4 losses you could say, okay, I think those could happen. He had Texas, Missouri, Ole Miss, LSU. Would you say those could happen?
Say them again.
Missouri, Ole Miss, LSU, Texas.
Jay, anything can happen.
Okay, and then the other one, which I thought was just an absolute dumb. There's no way I'd pick this game. First game, SEC game, Tennessee at home.
Yeah, they're not losing to Tennessee at home.
Hey, and I understand he gets a lot of hate from OU fans, and he is. I mean, he does. He is a lot of OU fans hate him. I just brought it up because I saw it going across my screen. I thought I'd watch to see what. I didn't even watch the video. I just went all over to the end to see where he had him projected. So,
and Eric says he's usually right. So
last year he
take that for what it's worth.
Last year he projected OU 9-3. They ended up 10-2. So
he wasn't right.
He was close.
Okay, picks 8-4, then he'll be right where I said they are going to be 9-3.
Better chance OU 7-5, or better chance they're 10-2.
Better chance they're 10-2, Jay. You just named 4 games, Jay. I don't think OU's losing all 4 of those. They're going to win one of those, I would think.
Maybe we should get Uncle Lou on here with you and me.
I've never seen him, Jay. I know you watched him.
Well, I mean, I think there you go. Yeah, diehard Georgia fan. Hey, the Texas love and the OU hate, based off 1 year, is that where this is coming from? You think is it all off last year?
It has to be, Jay. What else could it be? Texas hasn't been great. The OU's owned Texas in the Big 12 as far as championships.
Well, OU beat them last year. That's not what I'm asking. I'm just saying.
No, I'm talking about championships.
The national perspective.
Yeah, Texas is a little higher because they were in the playoff last year, Jay.
Yeah. So was TCU the year before.
Correct, but they didn't have their quarterback back. Had Duggan been back another year, Jay?
Hey, Colin, if Michael Hawkins is a starter midseason, that means Jackson Arnold's injured. Okay,
that's the only way.
Means he's
injured. Hey, I'm gonna zero chance Michael Hawkins replaces Jackson Arnold in the middle of the year because of poor play. Not gonna do it. He's not gonna have that short of a leash.
Wouldn't think so, unless he's just really bad.
Jay, say the 4 games you said again.
Throw out the Tennessee game. You got Missouri, Ole Miss, LSU, all on the road, and Texas.
Auburn.
Texas.
Auburn's on the road too.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think OU's losing all 4 of those games.
The game I think people think they're losing that they're definitely not losing to me is Missouri. I don't think they're losing Missouri.
I would like to not think they're losing Missouri either, Jay.
I think there's so much hype for that game and so much you can talk about the Caden Green situation, other situations. That game, I think, will be circled heavily on Oklahoma's radar, and it already is. So that would be the one out of those games I would say they could steal that one. Bobby thinks they lose at home to Bama.
Well, I'll say this, Bobby. If they lose at home to Bama, they're not going 9-3. That's my opinion. Jay, Is this a fair assumption, what I'm about to say, that I think OU being new to the SEC actually helps them in one sense? I think maybe there's going to be less of a chance that they go into some road environment and are surprised by what they're seeing as far as
They will
environment and atmosphere. I think they're going to embrace every chance of it.
They're going to embrace it, Jeremy, but all the road games, every one of them is way more difficult of a road game.
But that's what I'm saying. But what I'm
atmosphere-wise than in Big 12.
And I think they know that, so they're going to bring a game more, maybe.
Except
I don't know.
Missouri. Except Missouri. They've done that before. They've done that.
They've done that before.
Yeah. So, yeah, Wimberly is going to be a really good player. I'm hoping to get out and see him this year in Arkansas.
How do you win? And look, the truth is, it's going to come down for OU. It's going to come down to winning the close games.
Yeah.
Usually there is a recipe for that. It has to do with elite quarterback play, or at least having a winner at quarterback.
Experience.
And it has to do with having veterans on the team. I think OU has those.
And Damon says they usually play up to the competition. That's true in most cases. I think you can talk about experience like we've talked about before with the defense and how much that helps you. But I do think on the same hand that you're saying that, you can say the offensive line inexperience and the quarterback inexperience. I think those kind of equal out what you have on defense and then your inexperience on offense. So I think it's going to come down to, you look at it, 6 of their games are against what? Top 15, 20 teams. So those games, I would expect to be within 3 to 7 points, right? Going to be close games. You got to win your fair share of those. If you don't, there's a very good chance that the difference between 10-2 and 7-5 is a total of 10 points. I'm not joking. I think there's that small of a window and a margin from 10-2 to 7-5 with this team. I think you could lose 3 games by 3 or 4 points each. No problem. I could see that happening. And you staring you the 10-2, you win them, you lose them. You could be 7-5. And that's not far off. And that's the narrow margin now that they had that margin last year. If they were in the Big 12 this year, I don't think the margin would be that small. They'd have a lot better chance. But I think in the SEC with these top-ranked teams, it's going to be a narrow margin, and you got to take care of business and make the big plays that you have to make.
I do know that the more disrespect towards OU, maybe it'll feed them a little more. I don't know. I did see highlights of that. I saw the great catch in center field by Clemson, and then, of course, the bench-clearing brawl.
Did Tennessee end up winning today? I think they did, probably. Dalpo says, how many teams on OU on the schedule have more talent on paper than OU? Well, I'll say this. Pure talent, I mean, you'd say Alabama.
More talent? Bama's got more talent than OU.
LSU?
No, I don't think LSU does.
Okay.
You'd have to look at recruiting classes and who stayed. Texas a lot of times has more talent than OU.
I think it would be, you'd have to look all those. It's the recruiting rankings. I don't have time to look up all those, but Bama and Texas, Greg God says. Ole Miss, I'm not sold on Ole Miss having more talent than Oklahoma.
Well, portal-wise,
spots, but not overall.
Yeah, overall, I'm not sure they have overall more talent.
And listen, they got Walter Nolan out of the portal, and everybody was crying that OU didn't get anybody, and then OU picks up Dominic Williams, so that kind of equals that out for me.
And Jay, you can't talk about if it's about talent. Well, I mean, does Bama have a 5-star quarterback?
Hey, Bobby, how many 5 stars does Oklahoma have?
Hey, does Bama have a 5-star quarterback?
No.
Does Ole Miss?
No.
Does LSU?
I'm asking.
Well, if they don't have 5-star quarterbacks, I guess. I mean, to me, it's a bad argument, Jay.
How many 5 stars does OU have?
Jackson Arnold, David Stone,
Peyton Bowen.
So you have 4.
That's 3. I'm trying to think of who else would be. Was Mitchell a 5-star? 4-star. PJ.
Hey, what about Taylor
PJ.
Tatum? Taylor Tatum's a 5-star.
PJ's 1, Tatum's 1. So Bobby, what are you? I mean, OU's right there with Ole Miss, then, right?
Apparently.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
I mean, here's the thing. Most 5-stars, a lot of them do pan out. There's a lot of 5-stars that a high 4-star or 4 stars better than that 5-star. So I think as long as you have 4 and 5 stars, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah, you got to be.
If Ole Miss has 7 5-stars, I think OU's pretty much right there with them. Are they now with 6? Did we name 6?
We named 5 or 6, Jay.
So I mean, I might be missing one, but
yeah, and Tatum is a 5-star.
Yeah,
I believe Tatum
number one
running back in the nation by many recruiting places.
Yeah, Bowen was. I said Peyton Bowen.
Yeah, Peyton Bowen was. Was Billy Bowman? No. I think Bowman was 4.
Yeah, who was saying that our D-backs are suspect? Who was saying that?
Maybe Uncle Lou, Jay. I don't know.
I didn't watch the video. I just saw his picks.
Yeah, Taylor Tatum was the number 1 back in most recruiting sites.
Yeah, he's a 5-star.
Colin asked,
PJ, Stone, Tatum, Bowen, Arnold. That's 5.
Yeah, Devon Mitchell he reclassified.
He reclassified, so I guess he wasn't.
Anyway, and out of those 5, only 3 are going to play this year, probably. Who is your favorite college football player that never played for OU?
I don't like players really usually that don't play for OU.
There's been several that I followed and I just loved how they play. I'm trying to think who my favorite would be.
I'll tell you my least favorites.
Let me think on that for a second.
I can tell you my least favorites. Tim Tebow's I didn't really like Tim Tebow in college, Hunter.
I couldn't stand him for Florida.
Barry Sanders, a lot of people see. Joey B. Bo Jackson. I didn't watch Bo, so
only in the pros did I watch Bo.
Tatum's a 5.
Tavon Austin was a OU killer.
Now I actually did like Johnny. Hey, I did, Colin. I actually did like him.
Hunter, maybe you can drop it in, but Eric's saying that Tatum has a 4-star with 96 rating.
Shockey's a good one.
Taylor Tatum was a 5-star. As far as I know, and he was in many places the number 1 running back in the entire country. I don't know why we're trying to diminish Taylor Tatum right now, and what his ranking was, but
well, I'll say this: there is a lot of people nationally. Somebody said sniffing the Longhorn glue. There's a lot of people nationally that are so far on the Ole Miss stuff, it's unbelievable. And Ole Miss,
I'm not one.
Ole Miss, go beat somebody that's other than what LSU last year they beat. They're gonna have to beat somebody else for me to say they're just out of this world good.
And for the people who say, Jay, for people to say that OU needs to stop losing, there's a lot of people, and look, OU definitely needs to stop losing to some of those teams, okay? But you can't say that and then say that Ole Miss is going to be unreal this year, because Ole Miss hadn't beaten anyone lately.
Yeah, they beat LSU last year. They had a good year last year.
You know what I mean, though, Jay?
But I need to see it consistently, not just on the 1 year and they beat LSU. I do think they're talented. I do, but I'm not sold on. Sometimes it doesn't work out that you just get the best players on the portal and they turn out awesome. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and they may be. In fact, I think I got Ole Miss picked at 9-3. I got them picked about same as Oklahoma. I don't think that's out of this world. I don't think it's bad. I think it's pretty good. I got them 9-3, just like Oklahoma. So
Hunter said Taylor Tatum ended up as a 4-star, and he was the number 1 running back in 3 out of 4 sites, second in the other. So, I mean, all you can do is recruit the best player if he's the best player at his position. Look, there's a lot of people that aren't high on Taylor Tatum. I've seen his highlights. I think the biggest issue is he going to play baseball over football later? But I think he's going to be unbelievable at OU.
Yeah, I'm excited about Tatum.
Mez is really wanting to emphasize those two hires of Seth Luttrell and Zach Alley, and I agree. I heard Dusty Dvorak the other day on the breakdown talk about the defense and Zach Alley, how it's going to be a lot better for these guys up front. The intensity and the attacking on the defense.
I do think Seth Luttrell, the keeping Seth Luttrell or hiring him, I do think is going to impact the offensive line down the road too, and just the overall play with the offensive line. I think him and Beatenbow working together, their relationship, the way they run the ball, I think it would be better for the offensive line. So that's what I would say. Mess says downplay OU for Texas and their larger. Yeah, man, there's a fly around here. I'm gonna.
OU's was disappointing last year because of who they lost to. Absolutely was.
It was last year was a little bit disappointing. I would agree.
Yeah.
I just told Jeremy this today, Alan. I said, pick your battles. I told him this. He was trying to argue with me something. I said, pick your battles. That's right.
I do. I pick the ones I want, Jay. I do pick them.
That's right. That's
Jay,
fine.
I think what you're trying to say, Jay, is choose your battles wisely. I choose every one of my battles.
Let me ask you guys this. Yeah, last two were, honestly, you're right, Steven. Let me ask y'all this with Seth Luttrell. What do you think percentage-wise is a good number that you think they're going to run, pass to run, or run to pass? What are you thinking percentage-wise? 60-40? 70-30?
Probably 65-35 passing.
You think 65-35 passing?
A lot of it depends on how well the O-line can run block versus pass block.
Here's what I will say. I think early on in the first 2 or 3 games, I think you're going to see pass heavy because I think they're going to want to get Jackson Arnold as much times to throw the ball as possible, right? Give him as many looks as possible. I can guarantee you they're not going to come out there and run 70-30 in those first 3 games. I think they're going to be throwing over the field and try to just get him as much action as possible. That's what you have to do, I think.
Yeah, and hey, Tyler, OU wasn't 11-1 last year. So, yeah, I guess both of you guys would have been wrong, but my statement was it didn't matter how many – it was who they lost to last year. If OU would have had 10 wins and lost to Texas and another really good team, okay. It's who they lost to.
Yeah, Juan Blero, thanks for joining us again from Japan. Hope you're doing good. Bobby, I disagree. I don't think there's any chance they're going to run more than they throw the ball. Sorry.
I mean, I doubt it too, Jay,
shocked.
unless the O-line's really good blocking.
Would you be shocked if they ran more than they threw this year, though? Come on.
Chuck thinks so, too, but I highly, highly doubt it.
You think they're going to run more times than they throw the ball this year?
Not me.
No, I'm saying Chuck.
Yeah, that's what he just says, Jay. You'll see run heavy.
Hunter, take a poll, guys. Who thinks they're going to run more than they throw?
If you base it off Seth Luttrell, who is the coordinator, everywhere he's gone, he's throwing the ball more. Is he just going to change his MO?
Bobby says Luttrell's run heavy.
Well, go look at North Carolina and Arizona, Jay. It is called air raid. I understand there's more running than maybe the run and gun offense or spread necessarily, or whatever the other version is that Leach ran.
Hey, Mark, I'm with you. Me too. Doesn't matter what I think either. All that matters is what they think. Seth Luttrell.
And yes, OU ran the ball into Lincoln Riley. Absolutely did.
They ran the ball. Were they run heavy though or pass heavy?
They were pretty balanced under Lincoln Riley, Jay.
I still think they were pass heavy.
I don't know if they were, Jay.
It was probably pretty balanced, but
they ran for 300 yards.
The difference, though, too, is Kyler and Jalen. You can't really count those years because the many times they ran the ball. That counts as a run. That's a little different when you count quarterback run. I don't think they're going to run Jackson Arnold that much, personally.
What's different situations? North Carolina and Arizona, maybe? I don't know. I think they'll be heavier in the pass, but
hey, and I love run heavy. I mean, I would love an NFL style offense where you run it probably more than you throw it, and it's really balanced. I like that. If you can do it, if you have the offensive line, if you have the guys up front to do it, yeah.
And Jackson Arnold can absolutely run. It's going to be, are they going to want to run him, or is it all going to be on scrambling?
Eric, after OU beat Texas, I thought the most losses they would have is one. You're right. I think most OU fans would think that. No OU fan at all, after they beat Texas, thought they were going to end up with two. Nobody.
Well, not the two that they had for sure.
Well, their schedule was pretty easy after that, Jeremy.
55% with Baker, 55% pass or run.
55% run with Baker is what he's saying. So Bobby's right on. But I think they're going to throw more.
But go look at Seth Luttrell, I'm saying.
And that was kind of the misnomer, I think, with but you also got to remember, guys, go look at the offensive line that Baker Mayfield had. Okay.
You also, like Mark Munoz says here, depends on how many D are in the box, because you got to look at Baker's year. OU was loaded at receiver and tight end too. Pick your poison.
Yeah, but they had an outstanding offensive line. I mean, unbelievable.
People were daring OU to throw with Dylan Gabriel.
And they had P. Ryan and mix of both. Yeah, they were loaded. Chuck, what do you mean? Chuck says, how much sense do you think that makes? You don't know how your offensive line will be. Establishing a run game will keep D honest.
Hey, I said it depends on the O-line, if they're good run blocking or not.
I think it's going to depend on how good a run blocking they are, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I said. I mean, I would love to run. 54% run or pass. And where was that at?
North Texas. I think that's at North Texas.
North Texas. I didn't talk about North Texas. I was talking about North Carolina and Arizona, where he was the coordinators, not the head coach. Because I think people call things differently when they're the head coach. That's just my personal
We'll see. We'll find out. They could be more run heavy. If you are more
I'd be fine with that.
Hey, Bobby and you guys, if they are more run heavy, and Chuck, if they are more run heavy, that's great. If they're a good offensive line. If they're not, it's going to be a long year. I'm just saying. If they're going to run the ball a lot and they're not blocking, it's going to be a long year.
And Tyler, if all you've done in high school is pass block because your offense ran the spread, then it may be easier to pass block.
Hey, Blero, it will pass. I think it will happen. I do. I even saw something where they're going to, I don't know who said it, but they were talking about having the students shuttled over to the new arena as well for the students. So.
Wow, Joe. So, man,
Eric
I'm so confused right now.
Well, Eric, if Sawchuck doesn't get over 1,000 yards and we're 55-45 run team, it's going to be a long.
We're in trouble.
So something's got to give.
Didn't Sawchuck get 1,000 last year?
I don't remember his exact total.
I'm pretty sure Sawchuck's last 6 games were all over 100 yards. There, Hunter dropped that in there. North Carolina was 56% run. Hey, I would be okay with that, Jay.
You can run the ball 55% if you make deep passes when you throw, and that's what OU did with Baker Mayfield.
Play action.
They capitalize down the field, and that's what good running. If you have a good running game, the play action, the different things work marvelous. But you got to have a good running game.
And Chuck, I understand football in the sense that I would love you have to always run to keep the defense honest, especially for play action. I get you. I'm agreeing with you on that. I'm not saying OU's going to abandon the run.
And yeah, 744 for Sawchuck.
I think. And did he? When did he start playing, Jay?
Oh, I mean, just
week 4 or 5.
As far as I can't remember when he got quite.
When he started playing all the time, he got 100 yards every game. And I do agree with Mez. Talent matters. Veteran leadership matters. Coaching matters. I think we're going to see the difference this year. Again, it's an opinion, though.
Hey, and Chuck, I hope Oklahoma runs a good amount of time. I do. And I agree. It keeps the D honest. But it doesn't really keep the D honest if you're not getting any yards. I mean, if you can't run the ball. So you got to be able to run it.
Yeah.
And Colin, I agree with this too. You got to be able to run the ball in the SEC. Y'all are speaking to the choir. I agree with that.
Yeah, he averaged about 6.5 yards a carry, I would say, last year.
And you're right, Chuck. If the O-line's not good pass blocking, the last thing you want is a young, inexperienced quarterback running for his life, getting sacked and throwing the ball interceptions. That's the last thing. I agree with that. My whole thing about this, though, guys, is how good will they be able to run the ball? I think that's my big question is because what you did not see in the bowl game, they threw a ton. Now, a lot of that may have been because
it wasn't his offense.
Playbook. It wasn't his offense all put in. So, but
hey, couple things here. One, how many carries would you like to see? I don't think Sawchuk is a 25 a game carry guy. I think Sawchuk needs 17 carries a game, 17 to 18 carries a game. But I do want to answer Dalpuz's question. The offense was ranked 5th in the country last year. Now, improvement-wise, are we talking numbers or strictly big plays? I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean,
hey, Eric, if they're 8 or 9 in the box, I hope Seth Luttrell's throwing the ball.
Yes. If they're 8 or 9 in the box, we should be able to light people up in the air.
I would think so. If a team puts 9 in the box, you got one-on-one all out there. So
it's all day long.
Deion Burks on a linebacker at that point. I mean, or a safety.
So, yeah, all day. So yeah. So hey, it's fun to start talking about some of this stuff, which is actual football kind of strategy stuff. As we get close to the season, we'll be making sure we do that. Mark says last thing we want is the quarterback getting rattled, throwing interceptions.
I agree, Mark. Thanks for joining. I agree with that comment. That's especially a young, inexperienced quarterback. You can say all the talent in the world Jackson Arnold has. He does. He has all the talent in the world.
Juan Blair.
By the way, I want to say something about Jackson Arnold. You remember when he committed and how he just stuck it out? Well, Kevin Sperry, who just at the other 2 camps, is that guy. He's the guy that's OU all the way, already committed, and now he's just trying to get players to come with him. I think it's great. And
yeah, I do as well, and I agree with Allen. 8 or 9 in the box. Burks should be the linebacker's lunch. Really, is who will be on him. And Juan Blair, I've talked to a lot of OU fans who say they want to go to a lot of the road games. We'll see when it gets closer if that truly happens. But
hey, and Eric,
I'm not even going to get on this conversation tonight, Jay.
I agree, but it's to me,
it's laughable.
It's only really been one.
It's laughable.
The Arizona game's really the only thing.
Yeah, Caleb Williams looked way better against Kansas his freshman year. He struggled against Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and argue that tonight. Maybe tomorrow we can argue that, Jay.
Hey, record prediction, 9-3 still. 9-3 is where I've been for a long time. And that's where I'm going to stay right now, 9-3.
Yeah, so.
Now, and that's true, Brian. I think I wouldn't say 100%, but I think a lot of it right now is on that. So.
And Eric, yeah, Caleb Williams had a monumental game against Texas his first game in. He struggled some other games that year. And I'm going to say it's laughable to say you're not based on one bowl game when the guy threw for 360 or something.
Hey, also Caleb Williams had some bad games last year at USC.
Awful games. I don't want to argue that tonight. I might argue it tomorrow though, because you never know. Hey, everybody, check out the FanStop, fanstop.com. Use code SURGE and get 10% off the Shirt of the Month Club for the first 3 months. Appreciate everyone being on here. It's always fun. It's always energetic. Love the questions from everyone and love everyone that's on here. Hey, Juan Blair, how do we get softball info? Just by following a lot of things and giving a lot of insight. We don't claim to be experts on anything. I promise
I will
that.
say, Hey, Juan Blero, we'll let you know, but I'm working on getting Justin McLeod. He's editor from D1 Softball on a show, so we'll have that discussing transfer portal stuff. So hopefully this week we can get that. So just
Hey,
trying to
and
confirm a date and time.
yeah, and Bobby, I agree. If that's his first start, it should be a pretty promising year if I'm going to base it off his first start. So we'll see everyone tomorrow night. Boomer.
Sooner.